I, 30 female, have been engaged to my fiance, 32 male, together for 2.5 years. I work as a management consultant in a coveted firm, and my fiance and I met in grad school. He's in finance and we make great money. We have a good life together and are set to marry in the next 3 months. My fiance was with an ex for 9 years, but never proposed to her, so he dumped her. He was out of that relationship for a year before we started seeing each other. He was honest and told me that he had really hurt her, but the more time he spent with her, the more he realized she wasn't someone he ever really wanted as a life partner. Over time, we grew attached, and he confessed he never connected with anyone like that before. He always knew what kind of woman and lifestyle he wanted and what kind of woman would make him fall in love, and it happens to be me. And he proposed to me after 1.5 years, and we're both child-free. Some twisted part of me felt the glee, validation, and ego stroking as I got this man to commit, despite dating him for a much shorter time. According to him, his ex was also child-free, but he mentions that he doesn't think he ever really loved her and stayed with her only because of how long they had been together. When he dumped her, she was obviously a mess, as she desperately wanted to marry him and tried to get him back, but he moved on. Last week, my fiance took me as a +1 to his college reunion party, where his ex was also going to be there. It didn't bother me unless something went extremely out of line, and it did. I was feeling somewhat territorial. I made it a point to wear my engagement ring, and so did he. It looked like chatter went around, and she found out and got absolutely intoxicated. She barged into our circle and started confronting my fiance about how he had found a hotshot eye candy as his trophy wife when she should have earned that title. I kept silent, but then she turned to me and said, "Men like him marry the woman in front of them when they're ready for marriage, so good luck." I was seething but kept my calm, and in front of the people around me, told her, "Oh, honey, sorry, but he didn't want you. If he wanted to propose, he would have. Next time, I hope your role is not limited to helping others refine their preferences and partners." I don't know what happened, but she started hysterically crying after hearing it. She was intoxicated, so she crashed against the table and made a complete fool out of herself. We shortly left after she was removed from the party by the host. My fiance and I felt she deserved to hear that, but now I'm starting to feel maybe it was too harsh. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Conceited, egotistical idiot. You won. You got the dude. She was intoxicated. And yes, she shouldn't have confronted you, but you could have been a bigger person and just walked away. But you didn't. You had to rub her nose in it and gleefully watch her lose it. And what the heck? It stroked your ego that he asked you to marry him 1.5 years in. Most polite, kind people don't need their ego stroked, but you do. Oh boy, we get it. You're the beautiful princess who got picked. Yay, you! And she's the old hag who didn't get picked. It took a 10-page dissertation to let us know you got picked. Congrats! OP, why are you so desperate to prove how superior you are? Why can't you have compassion for her? You could just as easily have been the other woman he led on for 9 years and then just moved on from. I have no respect for your fiance, a spineless little worm. Me, awesome me. OP sounds like such a delight. Darling, you do know about karma, don't you? Just give him 6.5 more years, and you'll find out. Just wait till he gets bored of you, like he got bored of her. That poor girl. Exactly. OP will spend the next 6.5 years telling everyone she got picked, but then she'll have to start all over trying to get picked again. OP, how are you in your 30s and still have this kind of high school relationship naivete, like getting married in 3 months with some mic drop? Like engagements and marriages never crash and burn. The two of you are in for an extremely harsh wake-up call somewhere down the line. Bless your hearts. 2.5 years and you believe in some sort of soulmate nonsense that'll keep either of you from improving yourselves until you destroy each other because you both already think you're the cream of the crop. Ah, yes, bless. Our family does not have anything that requires a full-size truck. We don't haul anything, we don't camp, and we don't own a trailer. We have zero reason to own a $100,000 truck, other than that my husband really wanted it. It was in our budget, and he was adamant that this is what he wanted. We have 3 kids, 2 teens, and our awesome surprise baby. Not planned, but a joy, to be sure. We never take the baby anywhere in the truck. My husband keeps it pristine. My son has a Jetta that he purchased with help from us and his grandparents. It's a reliable car, but it's not in great shape. I have a Porsche Cayenne that is our family vehicle. The back seat has the usual stains from the baby. That's life. Well, my husband recently got a promotion, and he has to go downtown twice a week now. He tried driving his truck, but it won't fit in the parking garage at his office. He had to park a block away at a surface lot where hooligans and ne'er-do-wells might harm it. He asked me if he could use my car on the days he goes into work. I said that would not be a problem. He just had to put the car seat in the truck so I could drive with the baby. Nope. He wanted me to drive our son's car and chauffeur the older kids and not touch his truck. I declined his generous offer and told him my car was off limits because I needed it for myself. So now he has to borrow our son's Jetta because his only other option is public transportation. He could afford to Uber in, but he doesn't want to do that either. He says I'm being a jerk by not letting him use my car, but I think he's being unreasonable about his truck. Not the idiot. There are 3 cars, a cheap one for the son, a family one that's needed to transport the younger children, and the one your husband chose and bought for use for himself. We have to be responsible for our choices sometimes. Why should you or the children suffer because he chose an inappropriate vehicle? He's a silly idiot who wanted his shiny big toy, can't stand the thought of anyone else touching it, and couldn't care less about practicalities like fuel consumption, cost, emissions, or being able to park the bloody thing so it could be used for work. It doesn't sound like that's your fault. So this guy bought a $100K truck and doesn't even know how to park it? Oof. Also, keeping a pickup truck pristine is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Sounds like he has a pavement princess. Alternative name is emotional support vehicle. It's his problem to deal with. If you can't drive his truck, he can't drive your Porsche. I can't imagine making a $100,000 purchase that could easily benefit my family and keeping it all to myself, then expecting everyone else to bend backwards for me when the purchase doesn't work for me. I call them compensating for something trucks. My father, too, bought a $110K plus truck as a gift for himself. My stepmother was thrilled that she could now haul hay to the barn she rode horses at. My father said no due to the mess. She was so incensed that she went out and bought the exact same truck to show him who was boss. He does what he wants with his vehicle. You do what you want with yours. I'm getting married soon, and I've decided I don't want children except for my pre-tween twins at my wedding. They mean a lot to me, and I want them to be a part of my big day. They'll be with the babysitter the entire time at the reception, so they won't be a bother to anyone. My siblings have young kids, and they were upset about my decision. They said it's unfair for me to allow my kids, but not theirs. They accused me of being selfish and said I should invite all the family's children or none. They even threatened not to attend my wedding if I didn't change my mind. I think they're being dramatic, and I believe I have the right to choose who I want at my wedding. I love my nieces and nephews, but I don't want them to disrupt the atmosphere of the celebration. I also don't want to exclude my own kids because they're my children, and I want them to witness me marrying their father. Am I the idiot for allowing only my twins at my wedding, but no other children? You're so selfish for wanting your wedding to be all about you. Geez. Not the idiot. Anyone with a brain can accept that the bride and groom's kids are a special case. In fairness, I could understand why it would feel like a slight to your sister, but she needs to remember it's not about her or her kids. There is a difference between children and your children, but will your twins find it lonely not having their cousins to play with at the wedding? Being a child in an adult-only situation can be a bit boring, even if it is a wedding. I can see your siblings' point of view, but be prepared not to have them at your wedding. Can anyone explain to me why people think kids are such a massive problem at a wedding? What exactly is the atmosphere people are so concerned about not disrupting? Kids are so traditionally a part of an American wedding that they have unique roles within the ceremony. Like, what is the atmosphere you're going for? A hushed classical concert? A loose cocktail party with wild intimacy afterward? All the weddings I've attended had a few kids around, and I just don't get it. Good question. I hope people answer because I don't get it either. I've never been to a wedding where a child starts screaming and running down the aisle. Sure, I guess it could happen, but you could about equally ruin your day by having a stomach bug in the middle of the ceremony. Alcohol is way more likely to stir up wedding drama, yet we're literally advocating for it. Also, when did people decide they have a right to bring their children? Literally since the dawn of weddings. Children have always attended weddings. It's way more insane, in my opinion, to expect everyone you know to drop everything and hire a sitter because, God forbid, their attention not be laser trained on you for 1 second. My ex and I were together for 9 years, and we had a son who was a toddler when I learned my ex got another woman pregnant. I filed for divorce immediately, and he moved in with his other woman. Right after the birth of my ex's daughter, the other woman disappeared off the face of the earth. My ex's sister told me that the other woman hadn't wanted a baby, and it was suspected she moved back to the UK, where she was originally from, but none of them knew for sure. Ex and I have equal parenting time with our son. We're supposed to split the cost of things, but I usually pay more because he's unable to provide everything. The judge ruled no child support because we technically make the same. It's just he has an extra mouth to feed. Our son is now a preteen, and my ex's daughter is a kindergartner. My ex has expressed concerns a few times about how much more our son has. Our son wanted to do extracurricular activities, so I paid for those. I also make sure he has all he needs for school. While my ex struggles to provide for his daughter the way our son is provided for, ex wanted us to work together so both kids could equally be looked after. And I told my ex, it's not my job to ensure his daughter's provided for. I told him he has 2 kids to provide for, while I have 1, and that's his fault, not mine. He argued that I should be thinking of the innocent kids when I made this decision, and I said no. Ex raised even more concerns after the kids returned to school. His daughter went to elementary school for the first time. His daughter had fewer school supplies than our son, and he said I didn't send them to his house. Son kept them on him since he was with me the first day of school. He said his daughter noticed her brother had cooler stuff and was upset. He also said his daughter had to dip into some class supplies while our son had more than enough. He mentioned that their school bags being of very different quality, etc. And he said this is going to make his daughter's life much harder in the future because she won't understand why. I didn't care about his concerns and reminded him again that I wasn't responsible for his daughter in any way. He went off on me and said I was being a crappy person, dismissing his concerns. And he said we're meant to work these things out together. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Man has 1 family, screws around, and now he has 2 kids and wants his first wife to deprive their son or what? Give us a fair baby child support? Heck no. I feel bad for the girl. She deserves better parents. The money your ex isn't contributing to your son should be spent on his daughter instead. It sounds like he could afford to provide the same things for his daughter that you're providing for your son. He's just not doing it. I also don't believe a kindergartner noticed the difference between book bags unless the dad bought the cheapest one. It sounds like OP doesn't even ask him to split the cost of her son's supplies. He wants to offload the extra labor of shopping for stuff onto her. Can't we work something out? Can't you just do the mom work and buy stuff for both kids so I don't have to? There's a straightforward solution here. He can find the mom and make her pay child support. He can get a second job. He can ask his family for money. He can sell some possessions. He can dip into his retirement money. He can get rid of cable. He can switch to generic brands. He can learn how to count cards in Vegas. He can start an Etsy store. Does the girl's mom family not help? Is her name not on her daughter's birth certificate? I honestly don't know. She might not be because she took off almost immediately after the little girl was born. If she's from the UK, they might not know the girl, her daughter, exists, since it sounds like she's just gone with no way to contact her. I think there might be some embarrassment. From what his sister told me, it sounds like he didn't know much about her, and he might be ashamed to admit he doesn't know exactly where she's from, and maybe doesn't even know her full name. His sister said there are a lot of things he couldn't answer about her. Wow, that's wild. Unless she gave birth in the back of a cab and jumped out before it got to the hospital, her name is on the birth certificate. However, this chick did you a favor. You dodged a bullet. Your ex isn't just an idiot. He's something way much worse. He's stupid. Those are the most dangerous people on the earth. To be petty, I would still try some social media to find the affair partner, or even better, some family, and tell them that she's a deadbeat parent. I don't like her. Neither your ex. I have a preschool daughter. She's in her princess phase. My sister-in-law and I differ on a few things, but one thing we disagree on is boy and girl clothes and toys. I was not strict with it when Emma, my daughter, was little. She wore all types of clothes since she was a baby, and she didn't care. At the time, sister-in-law would give baby boy clothes, and I didn't care. The issue is she keeps doing this. Emma is really clearly a girly girl. She likes dresses. She plays with fake makeup. She has a fake kitchen set. She has some boy toys like trucks and whatnot, but they collect dust. I've talked to her before. It was Emma's birthday yesterday, and my sister-in-law gave her guy clothes. My daughter made a face when she saw them. I waited until after the party to give them back. My daughter made it clear to me that they were ugly and she wouldn't wear them. We had a huge argument, and she called me a jerk for staying with gender stereotypes. I'm doubting myself on this. Not the idiot. I don't agree with gender stereotypes either, but I also know that unless it's inappropriate attire, like a swimming costume in winter, arguing with a 4-year-old about their wardrobe wastes everyone's precious time. Your daughter isn't going to wear those, and your sister-in-law is wasting her money, and you're stopping her from doing so. There are other things she could buy, apart from clothes, e.g. There are so many kids' books on brilliant women from history. She could get some of those. Gifts should be targeted to the recipient, not the giver's belief. That said, your daughter's now getting old enough for you to work with her, ungraciously accepting gifts we don't like, without making faces, etc. LOL, that's very true. What are boy clothes exactly? Comfortable, functional clothing maybe? Not pink? At her age, your daughter's highly unlikely to have strong feelings about aesthetic things, but is mirroring your strong signals. So yeah, you are the idiot, both for enforcing strong gender conformity and for rejecting gifts. Say thank you, donate them, and be grateful.